All right, Deputy, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Judge.
All right. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is approximately 11 a.m. Today's date is September 10th. This is first appearance court this morning. Good morning again. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. I'm one of the associate magistrate judges here in Clayton County. Ladies and gentlemen, you are here this morning because Clayton County has alleged that each of you has committed a criminal offense. And of course, you have been arrested for that offense. My job as a judge here this morning under first appearance is to advise you not of what you're being charged with by the county, but what the police specifically allege that you have done, what you've been initially charged with, and then to also advise you of what your bond is and any bond conditions that may go along with your bond. Let me repeat, this is not your trial. And what I mean by that is, ladies and gentlemen, be careful about the things that you say to me during the course of our conversation that I'm going to have with each of you this morning. And the reason I tell you that, not only is this being recorded, but there are witnesses. There are officers around you. There are each of you that become witnesses if you say something believing that it will help you. And so anything about your case, whether or not the other person is going to testify for you, whether or not the evidence is incorrect, things of that nature, they don't make a difference in whether I set bond or how much the bond is going to be. And so the best advice I could give you here this morning is the only things that we should discuss, each of you with myself as the judge, is how much your bond is, when you might able to get out, and then what you've been charged with. And then if you have any questions about how to bond out. Now, there are several rights that as a defendant, which each of you are, that you have that go along with this process from the date of your first appearance today until your case closes. You'll have the right to a trial by jury. You'll have the right to an accusation or an indictment. You'll have the right to subpoena witnesses to be called to assist you in the prosecution or the defense of your case, among others. You'll have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, as I've gotten a chance to review the documents that each of you all submitted here, then I, as a judge, will appoint an attorney on your behalf to assist you in the defense of your case. Now, as I mentioned to each of you, as a part of what I'm doing here this morning, I'm advising you what you've been charged with, and I'm advising you of what your bond is. Now, when I tell you what your bond is, ladies and gentlemen, there are some of you, based on what you've been charged with, that are going to have what are called bond conditions. That means I'm going to advise you that there are certain places you cannot go if you make your bond, and there are certain people that you cannot talk to, email, text, send a message to someone else to send to them. You're to have no communication with them whatsoever. And I strongly advise you, as my second point to emphasize, that if I tell you these certain bond conditions are in place on your case, to please abide by them. Your failure to do so will end up in your arrest again, and you're being charged with an additional felony and a fine of up to $10,000. So if you come before me and you are alleged, as an example, to have been involved in an argument or a altercation with a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, sister, brother, mother, and I tell you that you're not to have contact with that person or you're not to go to that address if you were living with that person, again, please abide by that. Now, there will be times where if, in fact, you do get that condition, I'll tell you, you can go to that address, but you can only go if you are accompanied by a law enforcement officer from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. So if you make bond and I tell you don't have contact with this person, don't go to that address, you contact the Sheriff's Office, you tell them about what's happened to you, and that you need to go to that address to get some items that belong to you. Now, there are some of you in review of your criminal history that will not get bond today, either because the allegations against you are such that I'm not entitled to give you bond, because I have reviewed your criminal history and you are currently on probation and are now charged with a new felony. And then there is one or two of you who are charged with crimes from another state. And so I'm not allowed to give you bond as well. And I will advise you of that if, in fact, that is the situation that you're facing. Now, as far as the bond goes, when I tell you how much the bond is, there are three ways that you can make bond. You can either yourself or someone on your behalf bring the amount and pay it in cash or through a debit or credit card. You can also either use a bonding company. If you use a bonding company, typically the bonding company will require that you put up 10 to 15% of your bond and they'll pay the rest. And so as an example that we've been using, if you are alleged to have been in an altercation with your brother or a family member or girlfriend or boyfriend, and I tell you your bond is $6,000 and you want to use a bonding company, you would only have to come up with between 10 to 15%, which is between $600 to $750 that you would pay the bonding company. Now that is non-refundable, so you will not get that money back, but they'll put up the rest for you so that you'll be able to get out pending the resolution of your case. So again, the first way is through cash or debit card or credit. The second is through a bonding company. And then the final way to make bond would be the use of a property bond. So if either you or someone you know owns a piece of property that has 3 times the amount of your bond. So if your bond is $6,000, if you know someone who owns a house or home or trailer, apartment complex of some kind, and they have at least $18,000 in equity in that property, they can come bring their deed down, hand their deed to the sheriff, and the sheriff will hold on to it until you make every one of your court appearances and your case is closed. Now, lastly, ladies and gentlemen, there are several of you who are charged with misdemeanors. When you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have an option, unlike a felony. A felony requires that you have a preliminary hearing. A misdemeanor does not. A preliminary hearing happens when you don't make bond, and it's a hearing that you'll have within 30 days of your arrest. You will be there as the defendant, your attorney will be there, and the police will be there. And the police officer has to tell the judge how much evidence they have against you. If the judge determines that there is not enough evidence, your case is dismissed. It doesn't mean that a prosecutor can't bring it back, but for the time being, your case goes away. So if you're charged with a misdemeanor, you can choose to have that preliminary hearing or not if you don't make bond. If you're charged with a felony, you're going to have that hearing regardless. So each of you that are charged with misdemeanors, as you come up, I'm going to ask you about that hearing because it's your option whether to have it or not if you don't make bond. But let me say one thing to you. If you tell me you do want to have that hearing and you're not going to make bond, you'll get that hearing and then your case will move on to the prosecutor if the judge finds for the police. If you tell me, Judge, I don't want that hearing, I'll waive my right to that hearing, your case does move a little quicker and it doesn't have that hearing and it goes directly to the prosecutor. So there's the big difference. One will take a little longer than the other, but one gives you the right to a hearing that you are entitled to here in the state of Georgia and specifically in Clayton County. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I could, please have each of you to raise your right hand. Do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth? And if you so, I need for each of you to say, I do. All right, if you could, need for everybody to say, I do.
I do.
All right, thank you. All right, Deputy, if we could line up the females, please. Next up, first up, I believe I have Miss DeAndrea Brown.
Brown, everybody else, go sit on the bench.
Are you Miss Brown?
Yes,
Good morning, Miss Brown. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Miss Brown, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond amount is $3,500. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Philip Harrell, and to stay away from that address, 7293 Caribou Trail. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, I believe Mr. Brown, or excuse me, Mr. Harrell was arrested as well.
Mhm.
Okay, do you both live at that address?
Yeah, we both reside there.
Okay, is that an apartment or a home?
It's a house.
Okay, do either you or
Fully
he,
furnished with my stuff.
okay, is that your name on it?
Yes, both of ours.
Okay, both
No,
names are
no,
on?
you mean on the house?
Yes,
Or
ma'am,
the deed?
on the
the
deed.
Oh, the deed is in my brother's name. It's my brother's house. I rent from him.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do then, ma'am, I'm gonna alter that bond. I'm gonna have Mr. Harrell not be able to return to that address, but what I'm gonna do on yours is, I'm gonna say that you're not to have any contact with him, okay? You can reside at that premises, he cannot. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, no.
Okay, so again, your bond amount is $3,500. You're to stay away from Mr. Philip Harrell. You can reside at that address. Mr. Harrell will not be able to. And the only other question I have for you, I was reviewing the paperwork you filled out. I understand. I see how much you're making per month. You're not currently working. So I am going to give you a court-appointed attorney this morning. The last thing, because you're charged with a misdemeanor, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive your right to that hearing, that preliminary hearing I talked about earlier. Do you want to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
You said waiving is better. I go with waiving it.
Well, I didn't say necessarily. Waive just means,
Move
I'm
faster?
sorry.
It'll move faster.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now as far
Well,
as
you
your
gave me a
bond,
bond, so I really don't think I need the hearing right because you gave me the bond.
well, if you make the bond, if you make the bond correct, you will not have the hearing. It'll be automatically waived.
Okay. Well, no, I don't want the hearing.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I've gone ahead. I recorded here that you want me to waive your right to a hearing. Again, your bond's $3,500. You can remain on that property, and I'm requiring Mr. Harrell not to. Do you understand?
Yes, and I did have a question as far as my bond.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it called? A self-sign? A self-sign? Is that how?
Ma'am, no, I'm not going to grant that with what you've been charged with.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Next up, I have Ms. Yuana Farrow, Farrow. Are you Ms. Farrow?
Yes.
Good morning, Ms. Farrow. How are you this morning?
All right.
Ms. Farrow, you are charged. Let me get your stuff here. You are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of cruelty to children in the 1st degree, and a 2nd count of cruelty to children in the 2nd degree. Your bond total amount is $65,000. Aggravated assault for the 50, and then each of the cruelty to children's are $7,500. Now, I am asking that you stay away from both of the children at this time. And on the warrant, it said they're both named Taylor Hurst. And I'm also asking or requiring that you stay away from this address if you make your bond of 5100 West Fayetteville Road. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, because you are charged with a felony, ma'am, you are going to get a preliminary hearing date coming up here. So I'm going to give you a couple dates. Your first court date after today will be October 11th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And then you'll have a bond hearing date that's going to be October 13th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
So I'm not able to get a bond at all?
Not today. Well, your bond, you do have a bond, ma'am. Your bond is $65,000.
Okay.
Okay.
How much would I have to pay with that?
If you were going to go through a bonding company, it would be about between $6,500 and $8,000.
All right.
All right, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, I have Miss Ashley Fierro Vargas. Are you Miss Vargas?
Yes.
Ms. Vargas, you were charged with 1 count of driving under the influence of alcohol, improper lane change, and open container. The DUI carries a bond of $2,500. The other 2 charges carry bonds of $500 apiece for a total bond of $3,500. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on the information you provided, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So if you do make that bond, make sure that whatever address we have on file here at the jail, that you advise them, if that's going to be your address moving forward, okay?
Yes.
Now, as far as preliminary hearing, since you are charged with misdemeanors, as I mentioned earlier, you have a right to that hearing or to waive that hearing. Now, again, if you make bond, that hearing's automatically going to be waived. What would you like to do this morning, ma'am?
Waive.
All right. All right, ma'am. I have recorded that for you that you are waiving your hearing. I believe that's all I have, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to hold on Miss Gomez and do her at the end since she needs an interpreter. Next up, I have Miss Diamond Hamilton. And then after Miss Hamilton is Brittany King. Are you Miss Hamilton?
Yes.
So Miss Hamilton, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond amount is $2,500. I am giving your age in the allegations, ma'am. I'm not going to say that you can't have contact with Miss Terry because I understand you're living with Miss Terry. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm going to require that you're not to have any violent contact with her. So if you put your hands on her again, ma'am, I know this is an allegation, so I don't know if it's true or not. But if there is an allegation that you put your hands back on her, then I am going to require that you be arrested again. Do you understand that? Ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. So your bond amount is $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And so I am gonna go ahead, based on the information you told me, I'm gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. So my last question for you is, would you like to have your preliminary hearing or would you like to waive it?
Wait.
All right, so I have put that you are waiving your hearing. Your bond is $2,500. Good luck to you, ma'am. Miss Brittany King. Miss King, are you Brittany King?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after Miss King will be Miss Lucas. Miss King, you're charged with one count of improper use of the horn, no tag, and no license. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Each of those charges carries a bond amount of $500. So your total bond is $1,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Based on the information that you gave me, ma'am, I am gonna have to ask or require that you hire your own lawyer if you so choose. You don't have to. You can try to deal with this on your own. But as far as a preliminary hearing, you are entitled to your hearing. Remember, if you make your bond, it's automatically going to be waived anyhow. But how would you like to move forward? Would you like to have the hearing or waive it?
I'll waive it.
All right, ma'am. So I'm going to record here. You are waiving your preliminary hearing and that your bond amount you've been advised is $1,500, ma'am. Good luck to you. Next up, I have Miss Lucas. Are you Miss Lucas?
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Lucas. You're charged with one count of criminal trespass. That is a misdemeanor. Your bond amount is $2,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I see here that you're working, ma'am. How much are you earning per month?
I get at least $2,400. I make $16 an hour for working in public.
Okay. Are you gonna have that job if you make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any support with your children? Are you taking care of your children by yourself?
I have my mom, she could do with my kids and also my friend. And right now, I'm kind of asking you, like, I don't have anyone that can bring me out right now. So would I be able to get a signature bond?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not with what you're alleged with. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I cannot,
Yes, sir.
yes, ma'am, I can't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. You were right on the edge there. So as far as your preliminary hearing, ma'am, would you like to waive your hearing or have your hearing? If you obviously it's gonna be waived if you make your bond, but if you don't make it, you'll still be in custody. Do you want to have that hearing or you want me to send it straight to the prosecutor?
Wait,
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I'm gonna put here that you asked me to waive your right to the hearing. That's all I have for you unless you have any questions for me, ma'am.
no, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Deputies, do y'all want to have her go now or do y'all mind if we do these men first?
It's up, we got two that need a translation. We'll do them last.
Yeah, that works best for me then. So we'll have the gentleman come up now.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, come around a minute. First person, take your name for the judge, and I'll be back while that's on the bench.
First up should be a Mr. Keytron Banks. Are you Mr. Banks?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Banks, you're charged with one count of driving with a suspended license, one count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and one count of no tag. The no license carries a bond of $1,500, the marijuana 1,000, and the tag 500. That's for a total bond of $3,000, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, based on what you put here, I am going to ask or require that you get an attorney if you think you need one. If you don't, you're obviously welcome to attempt to resolve this on your own. My question to you is, I spoke earlier about a preliminary hearing. Do you want to have that hearing or waive that hearing, sir?
If I was to have it here, it'll be soon as possible, right?
No, sir. It'll be, we have specific dates. Your hearing would be October 10th. Now, remember, if you make bond, it's automatically waived, but if you don't, you'll be entitled to the hearing if you want to have it.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, sir.
Yes, you do want the hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So your hearing date for your misdemeanor charge is going to be October 10th at 2023. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be via Zoom if you're still in custody. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Deputies, is Mr. Cabrera the next gentleman that needs a interpreter?
Yeah, he's going last.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next up, it should be, I've got Matthew Elliott. Is that who's next?
Elliot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over. I apologize, Mr. Elliott.
Daniel. Thanks.
It should be Damon Daniel.
Daniel.
Are you Mr. Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel, give me 1 second here. So, Mr. Daniel, you're charged with violation of seatbelt law, driving with suspended license, obstruction, and fleeing from an officer. The seatbelt law carries a fine of $500, the no license, $1,500, the obstruction, $2,000, and the fleeing, $5,000. So your bond amount, sir, is $9,000 total. Do you believe you'll be able to make your bond, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, because of the information you told me earlier, I have gone ahead and appointed you a lawyer this morning that will assist you on your case. My last question to you, because you're charged with all misdemeanors, you have a right to that preliminary hearing I spoke about earlier, or to waive it. Would you like to have your hearing or waive it, sir? You said waive? Oh, all right, sir. So I've recorded that you'd like me to waive it. Your bond amount is $9,000. I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
But can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have to pay 10% of $9,000.
Between 10 and 15, so it'd be about 200, about less. All right, next up should be now Mr. Elliott, Matthew Elliott. Mr. Elliott, you're charged with 1 count of abandonment. Your bond amount is $1,500, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Now, because of what you provided on the document, are you currently working?
Yes, sir, I am.
How much are you earning per month?
Per month, I get paid 2 times a month. Maybe 2,500 each check.
Okay. Now, because of what these allegations are, I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney. I wanted you to hold on as much of your money as you can,
Yes, sir.
so they can assist you on your case. Now, you are charged with a misdemeanor. And so you have a right to what I mentioned earlier, the preliminary hearing, or you have a right to waive it. Would you like to have that hearing or waive it, sir?
I don't even know what's a good answer for that because I have an attorney already, and I haven't spoke with him, sir. So I don't even know what.
Okay. So your attorney isn't here this morning. So right now I've given you a court-appointed attorney. What I'm going to do then is, just to protect you, since you don't have that attorney here this morning, I'm going to go ahead and set that hearing for you. And if he wants to have you waive it or decides to continue it or postpone it, whatever you all choose, I'll let him, make that decision with you. I won't have you do that today by yourself. So I've gone ahead and set that hearing. So if you don't make bond, your next court date will be October 10th of this year at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
How much is the bond, Your Honor? Because you had.
1,500.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have Jared Fagan. Are you Mr. Fagan?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fagan, you are charged with 1 count of terroristic threat. Your bond amount, Mr. Fagan, is $5,000. Now, the allegation is that you made this threat. You don't have to tell me whether you did or not, and it involved an alleged victim by the name of Miss Kanika Duke. So I'm going to require that you stay away from Miss Duke and that you also stay away from the address of 747 Sherwood Drive. So as I said earlier, if that's where you live or you got items there and you make your bond, once you get out, please contact the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office can help you go over there and get any items that you have that belong to you that are at that address. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So that means don't try to go there on your own, because you will be in violation of your bond and you'll end up right back in custody. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you don't make your bond, your preliminary hearing date, I'm gonna give you a couple dates. It's gonna be October 11th of 2013, and that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And if you don't make bond, you'll have a bond hearing date. That's gonna be October 13th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Only other thing I'll tell you, sir, because of what you provided here, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney this morning. So you will have to hire your own attorney for this case, okay? All right, any questions for me, sir? All right, good luck to you. All right, next up, I believe this is Cardell Freeman.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Freeman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Freeman, you are charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, 1 count of criminal damage in the second. The criminal damage carries a bond of 10,000, the battery 5,000 for a total of $15,000 in bond. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based on the information you provided,
15, that, so how much is that?
it'd be between 1,500 and 3,000. Okay. Now, based on the information you provided this morning, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney this morning. So, they'll be here to assist you on your case. Now, you're going to get a couple court dates if you don't make bond coming up. Your preliminary hearing is going to be your first date. It's going to be October 11th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Your second court date is going to be your bond hearing at October 13th of this year, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
What do you mean my bond hearing?
So let's say you don't make bond, right? On the amount that I just gave you of 15,000. You'll get an opportunity for a judge to reconsider bond and determine if they want to lower it at a later date. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, before you leave, sir, I do want to tell you, because of these allegations, again, not saying you did it, but because of these allegations, I am putting in a special conditions. That means you have to stay away from the address of 6952 Apache Lane from the alleged victim, Miss Charlotte Trayor, as well. So if you were living at that address, sir, prior to this happening, and you make your bond at some point, until this case is resolved, and if you need to go over there, please contact the sheriff's office so that they can accompany you over there as well. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do not go to that address alone, or you will be in violation of this bond. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. Next up, I have Mr. Trevon Granberry. Are you Mr. Granberry?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Granberry, you're charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, 1 count of aggravated assault, strangulation. Battery, family violence carries a bond of $3,500. The aggravated assault, sir, you've been denied bond this morning on that charge because of the allegations. Now, if at some point, sir, you are given bond, I want to advise you, I did add special conditions, and that is to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Kadisha Reynolds, and also from the address of 6584 Voiles Drive, if that is your shared residence.
Yeah, no, that's my mother's address.
Okay.
It's not state.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, because I don't have that information on hand, I'm gonna leave it there. If at some point, that comes to light later on, that in fact is, your address and not her address, then obviously I'll let someone change that at a later time. But right now, Mr. Reynolds, just because of these allegations here, I'm not gonna, I don't feel comfortable moving that. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, so looking at your information here, where do you work, sir? Mr. Granberry,
I didn't hear you, Judge.
where do you work?
Oh, I work at American Deli.
Okay. Do you believe you'll have that job if at some point you make bond?
Yes.
Okay. Now, because of what you provided here, sir, I am unable to provide you a lawyer this morning, so you will have to hire your own lawyer. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, lastly, because you're charged with felonies here, you've got a couple upcoming court dates. Your first court date is going to be October 11th of 2013. That's going to be your preliminary hearing date. Your second court date is going to be October 13th of 2023. Okay, and that's going to be where they can reconsider this bond and these bond conditions. Do you understand that?
Okay, so I can't bind out.
No, sir. Not because of your allegations. No, sir. You've been granted no bond on the aggravated assault. Any other questions for me, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. Next up, I have Mr. Justin Green. Are you Mr. Green?
Sir.
Mr. Green, you're charged with 1 count of family violence, violation of family violence order, and 1 count of criminal trespass. Your total bond is $15,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I currently do live there because I have my mail and IDs and stuff like that though. And I didn't know I had a protection order against me. That's what I'm saying. Cause I was never there. I was
Hold on. Remember what I said earlier, sir. So you're getting into your case. You don't want to do that right now. I understand that. I understand, but well, now you know going forward. And let me tell you, you are to stay away from, I believe this is your father, Judson Green, and you're to stay away from that address, 7356 Mockingbird Trail. So let me tell you, if you have any items there that you need to get a hold of and you make this bond, you get in touch with the sheriff's office, you advise them that, hey, I need to go to that address, and they will accompany you there. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, I need to make it clear you are not to go there alone. Now, are you currently working, sir?
No, sir. This include because I got the order.
I'm sorry, say that again.
That's the reason because I got that order against me.
What do you mean? What are you asking me?
Can't go over there to my house.
That's correct. No, you don't have that. Yes.
Okay.
Essentially, that's correct. Yes.
You said my bond was 15,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, earlier I talked about a preliminary hearing. You're charged with misdemeanors, which means you have a right to the hearing or you can waive that hearing. What would you like to do this morning, sir?
What you mean by the right or wait later?
Okay, so earlier I was talking about a preliminary hearing. What a preliminary hearing is, it's where if you don't make bond, you're still in custody. The judge and a police officer, the police officer's got to come to court. It's not your trial, but he's going to tell the judge what kind of evidence he has against you. And then the judge is going to listen, and then he's going to decide if that's enough evidence to officially charge you, or he'll dismiss your case. So I'm
not gonna have nobody bond me out, so I probably won't have to sit and go to court.
Okay, but let me ask you. So you can have that hearing if you want. It'll be October 10th, or I can move your case beyond that hearing and go ahead and send it to the prosecutor. So it just moves a little faster. So it's up to you. Would you prefer to have that hearing with the officer and the judge, or do you want me to waive your hearing and move it straight to the prosecutor?
No, I want to just go to court on it.
Okay. All right. So your preliminary hearing, sir, is going to be October 10th of this year. It's going to be at 8:30.
Sir.
Your hearing is going to be October 10th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Okay. Did you get that, sir?
I did.
Okay. All right, Mr. Green. Good luck to you. Next up, I have Mr. Thurman Hansford.
Hansford.
Yes. Are you Mr. Hansford?
Yes.
Mr. Hansford, you are charged with one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Your bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
Now, you are charged with a felony, Mr. Hansford, which means that you are required to have a preliminary hearing. So your next court date is going to be October 11th at 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be via Zoom. Your court date after that is going to be October 13th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. So you've got a couple court dates coming up. October 11th, your preliminary hearing. October 13th is going to be your bond. All right, let me give it to you one more time.
Yes, please.
October 11th, 2023 at 8:30 is your preliminary hearing. October 13th is your bond hearing. Same time, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, where are you working, sir?
I work for a temp agency for a warehouse in McDonough.
Okay, so you don't know whether you'll have that job once you're released?
If I get out today, I'll have my job.
So, I mean, your bond is $5,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
That's 2,500 and what, 750?
No, 10% of 5,000 will be between 500 and 750.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am gonna put that down. You said that you believe you'll be able to make bonds. So you're right at it, sir, where if you wanted a lawyer, unfortunately, I cannot appoint you a lawyer. So if you need a lawyer or would like a lawyer on this case, you'll have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, sir. Well, if you don't have any other questions for me, that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. Next up, I have Philip Harrell. All right, are you Mr. Harrell?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harrell, you are charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond amount is $3,500. I am going to put in place special conditions. I've spoken with Ms. Brown this morning. You're to stay away from Ms. Brown. You're also to stay away from that address, 7923 Caribou Trail. I'm allowing Ms. Brown. I'm sorry?
That's the wrong address you just said.
Okay. What address? What's the correct?
7293.
Excuse me, I apologize. That's what I meant to say, 7293. Thank you for correcting me. 7293 Caribou Trail is where you're to stay away from. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have items there, because I understand from Ms. Brown that you all were residing together,
Mhm.
if you make bond and you need to get any items from that property, please do not go there alone. Contact the sheriff's office and they will go there with you. Do you understand that?
I do, sir.
What type of work do you do, sir?
I am a inventory control person at DHL.
And do you have that job once you're released?
I will.
Let's go.
These children, do you share these children with Ms. Brown?
I have no children with Ms. Brown.
Okay, the other these children that you do have, do you support them
I have
financially?
3 children. I support them.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning to help you, help you with your case. Now, the last question I have for you, because you're charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to a court-appointed attorney, or, excuse me, you have a right to that preliminary hearing I spoke of last year, or earlier today, excuse me, or I can waive that preliminary hearing for you. Which would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I will have the hearing.
All right, so if you don't make bond, sir, your next court date is going to be October 10th of this year at 8:30 a.m. and it's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. If you don't have any other questions for me, that's all I have for you, sir.
See, my bond was 3,500.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
All
3,500.
right, good luck to you. Next up, I have Roscoe Johnson. Are you Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Johnson, you're charged with violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Sir, are you currently working?
Yes, sir. I work for Uber Eats and I also work for a small LLC moving company.
Okay, how much are you making per month?
I'd say about 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay. Say that again, sir.
Depending on how much I work.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So based on that, sir, I'm unable to provide you an attorney this morning. So you will have to hire your own if you need one for your case. Your bond amount, sir, is going to be $15,000. So if you need a bonding company, it's going to be between $1,500 and $2,500 to make bond. Do you understand that?
1,500 and 2,500. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now your bond amount again is $15,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, because you're charged with felonies, if for some reason you do not make that bond and you're still in custody, your next court date, I'm gonna give you a couple days. They're gonna be October 11th for your preliminary hearing and October 13th for your bond hearing. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, sir. That's all I have for you then. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Adolphus Lindsay. All right, are you Mr. Lindsay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lindsay, you're charged with 1 count of reckless conduct. Your bond amount is $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, I see here that you have 2 children. Do you support those children?
Yes, I do. All the way down. Well, I have 2 of them on the 18th.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm gonna make this man at the park at 1875 on West Fayetteville Road.
Will you have that job once you make bond?
Yes, I will.
All right, sir. I'm gonna go ahead, since you're right at that cusp, I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. So they'll be able to assist you on your case, as you move through this process. Now, you are charged with misdemeanors, which means you have a right to your preliminary hearing that I discussed earlier, or you have a right to waive that hearing. What would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
I'll waive it.
All right, sir. So I'm recording here. You are waiving that hearing. I've advised you of your bond amount of $2,500. That's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
You too.
All right, next up is Malik Moses. Are you Mr. Moses?
Yeah.
Mr. Moses, you're charged with 1 count of interference with government property. Your bond amount is going to be $10,000. I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Your prelim for this court date, for these charges is going to be October 11 at 8:30 a.m. That's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's October 11, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Your bond hearing for these charges is going to be October 13th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that? Is that yes, no?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, sir. That's all I have for you this morning, Mr. Moses. Do you have any questions for me? All right, thank you. And I believe, are you Mr. Plowden? All right, Mr. Plowden, you have that same charge. Excuse me, I apologize. You are charged with one count of aggravated battery. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, sir. Give me 1 second, sir. I'm just looking over some items. Okay. All right, so Mr. Plowden, you are charged with one count of aggravated battery. Your bond amount is going to be $50,000. Do you understand that? Yes, 50. Do you understand that, Mr. Plowden?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to require here that you stay away from the alleged victim. That's Mr. Morris, Malik Morris. I see here you're working, but based on what you provided, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Your preliminary hearing date for these charges is going to be October 11th at 8:30 a.m. You're going to have a bond hearing date that's going to be 2 days later, October 13th at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that both are going to be via Zoom. Again, that's going to be October 11th for the prelim and October 13th for your bond hearing. So unless you have any questions for me, sir, that's all I have.
No, sir. I don't.
All right, thank you.
Now you wanna do the Spanish speakers first or future?
So what do we end up learning about Mr. Smith?
What happened with Smith?
Hey, that's the one that we don't know about him.
They still don't know.
Oh, they didn't identify him yet. He gave a false
Okay.
name.
Okay, all right, so I will set that aside. Is this Mr. Taylor?
Cabrera, you wanna do the both Spanish speakers first?
We got two Spanish speakers and then we have Mr. Taylor, or is he with us or not?
Yeah, he's with us today.
If we could do Mr. Taylor first, because I gotta stop and call the Spanish line. Are you Mr. Taylor?
You know, sir.
So, Mr. Taylor, I'm not sure if you were advised yesterday, because I don't think you made it up here yesterday, but you are charged, essentially, you're what's called a fugitive from justice. And what that means is you were charged in another state for a crime, not here in Georgia. And it looks here like you were charged with embezzlement out of Madison County. Now, I don't know whether you did it or not, but that was what you were charged with. So they put a warrant out for your arrest. You were here in
What you
Clayton.
said the charge was? I'm sorry to interrupt. What you said the charge was?
Embezzlement.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and so that charge was alleged against you. They put a warrant out for your arrest. And so when you came here to the state of Georgia, you may have gotten pulled over, asked to show your license or something of that nature. And they became aware of that warrant out there. Do you understand that?
Okay, yes, sir.
And so now here's where we are in the process. You have a right to then be taken from here in the state of Georgia back to Madison County to discuss with the judge and with the lawyers whether or not you're guilty of that charge. You're not going to do that here, but there's a process that has to happen. So I and the courts have to let them know in Madison County that you're here in Georgia, and then they have to decide if they're going to come get you or not.
All right.
If you say to me, Judge, yes, I want to make sure that they did the process correctly, they get up to 60 days and sometimes 90 days to come get you. Okay. And in that meantime, we'll review the process. Okay. You'll get a hearing for the process. Now, if you tell me, Judge, I don't want to wait that long, I'd rather go to Madison County, I'd rather deal with my charges, we will contact Madison County, the sheriff's office and the courts will, and they will come get you in 30 days. If they don't come get you in that 30 days, you will be released. And then, it's on them. Okay. So your options are: one, Judge, I want to skip this hearing. I don't really, at this point, I'm not concerned with the process and whether it was done correctly. We'll try our best to get you back to Madison County in 30 days. If they don't come in 30 days, you're released. Option two, Judge, I want to contest this process. You're entitled to a hearing, but that hearing won't happen any earlier than 60 to 90 days. Okay?
I'm good with the first option, Your Honor.
All right, so option one would be then that you are waiving your right to that hearing, and you would like to be extradited. Do you understand that?
Sounds good, Judge.
All right, you have any other questions for me, sir?
None.
All right, sir, well, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, man, stay blessed.
All right, thank you. All right, deputies, if you all will give me just one moment, and then I will be ready for the 2 Spanish speakers. Yes, did you hear me?
I know, that's why I was coming and telling him, we did not receive his paperwork.
You didn't get it for Taylor?
I just went back to my supervisor. He said no one contacted him back about his paperwork.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't get anything either. You're talking about the
Waiver.
the extradition order?
Yes.
Yeah, because I noticed they didn't send it to me either. Well, the only thing I know we'd have to do then is, I hate to do that, but we'll have to continue him one more day to give them an opportunity. Did your supervisor say why? Or let me ask, he said he didn't get any call at all. Is that what you're telling me?
He called them, and I guess they told him they was gonna call him back when they received something or they're about to send it, and he said he never got a
call back. Okay. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do then is we'll just have to continue Mr. Taylor one more time. And then what I'll do is I will send them over an order to put him back on for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to get to him tomorrow.
Okay, because this is his second time coming.
Right, I saw that. He's got to be done by tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Just give me a few moments and then I will be ready for the 2 Spanish speakers.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, really? They're both Spanish. He gonna get that. I think. Go ahead. Boys, right? Oh, yes. Yes, I can run you about like that. That'd be a dollar right there. It hits my head in. But you, wow, I know. I'll run you over too, Jess. I ain't gonna let you do anything. Ain't no wrong. No, I already know. You see how great I didn't tell you that thing on over there. That was exciting. What have you done? It was a global. You ain't got no momentum. I always tell them. The NFL right now, semi-pro. He was semi-pro, a gigolo. Harlem Globetrotter. He worked at every prison. He worked at every prison? Oh, not you. Y'all police, I would be tired right now. You been living, boy. You live. I had, I had 18. But never put in applications. Yeah.
We're gonna be speaking across the computer. Deputies, we're back on. All right, actually, if I could have Ms. Gomez first, if she's there. All right. All right, so Mr. Interpreter, I first have up a female by the name of Ms. Gomez. If you could introduce yourself, please. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Interpreter, if you could repeat it one more time.
Buen día, señorita Gómez, eres intérprete de español para asistir en la llamada. Es un orgullo servirle a usted. ¿Escucha?
¿Cómo dijo, perdón?
Did you hear her? I'm sorry, if you could repeat one more time, Mr. Interpreter, I don't think she.
Sí.
Okay, all right. So Mr. Interpreter, can you please let Ms. Gomez know she was charged with driving with no license and violation of a stop sign?
Entonces, usted está aquí por cargos de por haber conducido sin licencia y por no respetar las señales de alto.
Okay. Now, please let her know that I reviewed her history today and she is going to be released today.
Acabo de revisar su historial hoy y va a ser liberada hoy, ¿sabes?
Okay.
All right. So please let her know she will need to sign a document waiving her preliminary hearing.
Y tiene que, tendrá que firmar un documento para acerca de su audiencia preliminar.
No entendí.
Tiene que firmar un documento sobre su audiencia preliminar.
Okay.
All right. All right. Please ask her, does she have any other questions for me?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta para mí?
No, es todo.
All right. All right. Well, let her know she should be released in the next 24 hours.
Okay, voy a estar liberado en las siguientes 24 horas.
24 horas.
Yes. And then let her know she will get in the mail when her next court date will be for her charges.
Okay, y recibir un correo donde le dirá cuándo será su siguiente corte acerca de sus cargos, okay?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Interpreter, please tell her thank you. I don't have anything else.
Okay, gracias. Yo no tengo nada más.
Gracias.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gomez.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hector Cabrera.
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Interpreter, if you would tell Mr. Cabrera he is charged with DUI and following too closely.
Okay, entonces, señor Cabrera, usted se le está dando cargos por conducir bajo influencia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's also charged with driving with an open container and no license.
Yes, sir.
También se le está haciendo cargos por hablar con un contenedor abierto y sin licencia.
Yes.
Please let him know the DUI carries a bond of $5,000 and the others carry a bond of $500 apiece.
Entonces, solo quería decirle que el cargo por conducir bajo influencia tiene un total de 5,000, mientras que los otros tienen un total de 500.
Okay.
Okay. Now, please let him know if he does not get out on bond, he doesn't pay his bond of $6,500, I'm going to go ahead and set a preliminary hearing court date. So his next court date would be October 10th at 8:30 a.m. if he's still in custody.
You please repeat it one more time, Mr. Have it correct?
Okay. Yes, please let him know his bond is $6,500. If he does not make that bond, his next court date will be October 10th at 8:30 a.m. on the computer.
Tu bond, vamos a pagar el 6,500, pero si no puede pagarlo, su siguiente corte será en octubre 10 a las 8:30 AM por computadora.
Okay, but I have to stay in custody until that time?
No, sir, that's only if you don't get out.
Okay, so that's what I say. I had to pay 6,500 right now to get out?
No, Mr. Interpreter, please let him know. He can either pay 6,500 or he can use a bonding company, which would only require him to pay between $650 or $1,000.
So.
Si puede pagar este monto, 6,500, o puede obtener una compañía de finanzas que le podría hacer pagar hasta solo $1,000.
Okay, when I do that, at the time that I pay the bond, I get out from here or?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, so can I call today to the bond company to see what's going? Oh, yeah, okay. All right, sir.
All right, Mr. Interpreter, would you please ask him, does he have any other questions for me?
So the last question was, so 6,500 pay by myself, or I can go to a bank company, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. No, that's it.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Interpreter. Bye-bye. All right, so let's see. So yeah, so I'm gonna send in an order continuing Mr. Taylor, and then I guess we'll just do the same for Mr. Smith.
Okay,
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
no problem, Judge.